Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I'm your host, Carolyn Orphan. Today is September 6, 2023. Do you even believe it? It is after Labor Day. I think everyone's kids should be back in school, if not today, tomorrow. And gosh, it's just been such a fantastic summer. I hope everyone has had a great time, had a successful summer season of clients. And you know what's the start of school means, you guys? Everyone's going to start thinking about those breaks. So, of course, spring break is going to be the easiest for us to tackle with those Thanksgiving and last minute winter break requests coming up as well. So, do your best to get that information out there and don't be afraid to be proactive with your clients. If you know someone has traveled the last year or two with you over spring break, reach out to them now, find out when their school kids are off of school, be proactive and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. Many of you were just a destination success, so I'm sure you have lots of ideas for those clients for destinations that they can travel to in the next year. So, Leisure Owl, so great to see you, Vicky. I hope you're doing great. So glad to see everyone today. Don't forget to say hello in our chat here. Okay, we've got lots to talk about today, and I don't want to cut anyone off. So, you guys, I am very excited to welcome our next guest to KHM Today for the very first time. Please welcome Cesar Pascuales Pedroza, Manager of Onboard Operations and Shore Excursions for Celebrity Cruise Line. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And I just so Sam put your name and your title up. It's like the smallest print because there's so much. What We've never had anyone on before in your role for either land or sea. Can you share with us what you do when you are in charge of onboard operations and shore excursion? That seems like a lot.
For sure. So, first, let me introduce myself once again. I am Cesar Pascuales. I've been working for Celebrity Cruises for 15 years. I started as a shore excursion staff on board. And the moment I started traveling the world and seeing the guests coming back and sharing their feedback and going into every single city, waking up in a different town, a different port every day, I fell in love and I have not looked back. I am passionate about celebrity cruises. I have had offers to work in others before, and I'm still here. I just love the way we treat our guests. And what I do on a daily basis is manage operations and sales as well. So, me and my team, we're in charge of making sure that the guests have the most amazing destination experiences. We're not only looking at what they are doing right now, when they are going out with the guides and the tour operators, we're looking at how do we enhance that for the future? How do we improve? Because it's not only sending them on excursion and bringing them back. We know that every person feels different about the destination. So we are always thinking, do we have the right product? Are we making them enjoy the most when we go outside? Do we have all the most important sites? So day to day, it is just going and making sure that the guests have amazing experience. That is our culture on Celebrity Cruises. Not only what we do on board, but also what they are able to see and explore outside, because it's enriching. We want them to go back and say, I had the most amazing cruise and I discovered this wonderful food. Well, I'm all about food, as you can see by my shape. But I saw this wonderful destination. They learned so much about this guy. So that's what we want the guests to take back home.
So I love the word that you used, enriching, because I think that's such a theme these days for people who vacation. So there is a saying on the website that says, leave no, must see, unseen. And when I was doing some research, I found this on the page for bucket list travel. But I truly believe that this is like everyone's vision, not just that bucket list. And I think your thoughts behind, enriching experience totally lead into that phrase. And I think that when we look at vacations, especially cruise vacations, we're looking at the ship, the food, the destinations, the accommodations on board. And then that last piece of the puzzle is kind of like, what are you going to do when you're there? And that's where I feel like the shore excursion piece fits in. So have you ever been like, a destination where something new pops up and you're like, oh, that's neat, we should offer that? Or are you finding that existing experiences are just being curated differently or better? Is there anything new that just pops up?
I will go with the second one, right? So I am always in that spirit of discovery, no matter where I go. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm so passionate about this. I would say that definitely there are wonderful places for you to visit that people have been to, but there are these little places that they have not seen. For example, recently I was preparing a trip because I take care of the private journeys as well, tailoring experiences, right? And we were doing for this guest something that really wanted to do something out of the ordinary in Naples. But Naples is all about the Capri Island, the Amalfi Coast, and it was like, nope, check, 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 and we are like, okay, what else can we do? And we just went deeper. We went to the tour operator and say, well, this guest has done it all. What else can we do? And then we discovered this little island that is just a small boat ride from the main coast, Naples, and I forget the name of it right now, but it was like pop. The guest was like, I wanted for 3 hours, and I wanted like this way. It was just beautiful. We were not looking at that, but we were looking at how do we go to the
Mhm.
guest and we give him what he wants in the way he wants it. And then we discover those places. And we continuously look for those. And that's part of my job as well, to make sure that we always have something unique for the guest. So the destination continues to be the same. It's just that when you're cruising, you have the chance to see it one more time, explore, and then say, you know what, I like it. I would like to go deeper. And that's why I would like to share these with you. That's why we have our different types of excursion. We have destination highlights, that is for everyone, for you to discover. Then we have our small group discoveries that go into one single destination and digs deeper. And then if you have been there, then we have our private journeys where we tailor exactly what you want. Our small groups is growing a lot more than
Mhm.
destination highlights because the guests have already been there and they are just interested in going deeper in the destination. And it's our small group discoveries that allows that. So that's what I think about the destination. It is there, but you want to go and discover further. And every time you go, there's something new to
Mhm.
discover. I can tell you, even food. Every time I go, there's a new plate that I need to try, and I try it. And it's very good.
I think small groups, that's a consistent trend that we're seeing as well in the
Mhm.
last few years. People don't wanna be in crowds. They don't wanna
Nope.
be on the big buses. They'd rather be in the 12-passenger van moving around an island like that. I have to jump ahead like 10 questions because, Barb Quay, our fabulous BDM for Celebrity, knows this about me. I love the private journey program. I've done it twice. Um, and I've done it because I don't want crowds. And I've done it in Mykonos and I did it in St. Thomas last summer. It is such an untapped resource, and I hate saying it live on YouTube because I want to almost keep it to myself. Because it's so amazing. The fact that you can go and do the unknown, or even if you love the excursion that you're seeing, but you don't want to do it with other people, you can do it, and I'm always amazed at what you guys have been able to find. Is there a price point? Absolutely. Is it worth it? Hands down, 100%. We have amazing memories and photos as a family doing some things. It's always on the water, oddly enough. It's always involves a boat, but it is such a cool program because like you said, it is also for that person that's been there and looking for the extraordinary, but it's also for the person that just doesn't want to deal with other people.
If I may add, it's not it's those things, but also right after the incident, right? People are looking for experiences.
Yeah.
They are looking for exploring, imagine themselves in different scenarios. You cannot do that when you are with 50 people behind you telling, we're on a schedule, we're in a schedule. They
Right.
want to go and they want to breathe that air. They want to smell that fruit. They want to taste
Mhm.
that place. They want to learn. Like they want to ask questions without inhibitions. Like they don't ask some questions because they may sound dumb to
Yep.
other people, but they want that guy to be able to focus on their interests. So private journeys
Mhm.
offers that, and we are just growing and growing and growing with the program because that's what people want. They are looking into unique experiences, not that everyone is doing, but for themselves. What is enriching for my life? What is it history? Is it culture? Is it politics? Is it food? Do I want to learn how to cook this or bring it? Do I want to learn about a new
Hmm.
spice for my, and mind you, for their YouTube channels, for
Yeah.
their Instagram, they want to discover, they want to do the next thing that no one else does it, and you
Yeah.
can only do it when you do a private journey. So
Yeah.
yeah, I want to agree with you on that one. It is just an
I love it.
amazing program.
It's fantastic. All right, now let's talk about city stays as well, because I tend to be the person that's like, last flight in the day before, and then how quickly can we get off the boat? And really, at the end of the day, why aren't we taking the opportunity to spend one more night on the front and the back end to see the city that we are in? What does that look like for you? I mean, I feel like in Europe, this is probably a little bit more popular than maybe doing it in Florida, but it is still pretty awesome to be able to go and do an excursion before or after you get on that ship.
For sure. So last year we piloted city stays just in Rome, right? And it just exploded. The guests, again, following that trend of they're not interested just to passing through the places. They are interested in
Yeah.
just staying and taking a moment. So we have opened it to all of our ports in Europe. And I have to tell you what a success. The only complaint is that we need to shorten the cancellation period or the closing date because they need more time to plan their vacations. But once they go and they have the time to rest before their flight and they go into Rome or Barcelona and they go with their guide and they have this unique experience because it's very small groups that manage to do it.
Mhm.
They go back to the ship and say, cross it off my checklist. I just went to Barcelona, had an amazing time. I am rested, and now I'm going to enjoy my cruise experience with ports in between. I think that as you're planning your vacation, and something that I would highly recommend everyone that is watching, you need to plan your vacation because it's not a straight line of go, 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 go. Our guests get tired, right? So even though that I would say you need to book an excursion in every single port, no, you need to plan and then what is the highlight for that cruise? Then just go there.
Mhm.
Leave some time for you to rest. In this port, don't do an excursion. Just go out and walk around. Plan in advance. See if the city is within walking distance and take your time to stroll. Sit in a cafe because that's part of the whole cruise experience. It's not going in a rush, but really absorbing. So city
Mhm.
stays is that it allows you to have a break either before you go on your cruise before after you take your flight or have a rest before you go back home to the stress of the daily life. It's
Yeah,
really slowing down and taking in the destination. That is just another tool that we have to ensure that you have great destination experiences.
that's awesome. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite excursion you've done?
Ooh. Well, I have favorite places that I've been. I can tell you a lot of excursions that I have done. Like for example, Egypt. For me, my I did Egypt 3 seasons as a shore excursion staff, so I had the chance to do everything.
Wow.
And going to Luxor was one of the highlights
Mm,
in my life. I have to tell you that it was like out of this world. I did also overnights in Israel, and I went to Jerusalem during the evening. That was amazing. I have done overnights in New Zealand. I have been to the South Pacific and gone to islands that there's no one, only locals. And that was, mind blowing. So there's not one unique thing. I will say there's one thing that really blew my mind. Let me tell you this. Brunei, the Kingdom of Brunei, right? Many cruises don't go there. And we went there only once, and it
huh.
was to close Celebrity Century. And I have to tell you that it was like being in another place. Like they were in the city, it was just beautiful, beautiful palace with gold domes, for the king. And then you had houses on stilts right outside the city that were neighborhoods, and affluent people wanted to live in those houses on stilts outside the city. And that was just like I couldn't understand it, but it was one of those experiences that really change your life. And you say, definitely the world is full of different thoughts, different
Mhm.
cultures. You just need to go in, learn it, absorb it, and just that helps you grow as a person. That's what I say about traveling. That's why it's so enriching because the more you travel, the more you just expand your mind to the possibilities and then just live a happier life. That's what I say. That's why
Absolutely.
I'm happy all the time.
Well, and shore excursions help us get to that place. It helps us immerse. Thank you so much for being here today. I do want to mention, you guys, that KHM has some special celebrity videos coming out on our YouTube channel. You're only going to see them there. And so if you need, it's everything you need for your clients to get to Galapagos and to Alaska with Celebrity Cruise Line. So make sure you check them out. Cesar, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you, and we appreciate our partnership with Celebrity.
Thank you for having me, and I wish you success. And anything that you may need, please let me know. I will be more than happy to come back and help you. Talk about destinations. I've seen it all. So
Oh
just
gosh,
name it. I
we
will
would
come back and
love
help
that.
you.
We would love
Thank
that.
you.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye. All right, you guys, talk about a destination. Our next two guests have been spending a lot of time in Italy, but they're here with us today. So please welcome Josephine DiMaggio and Matt Wahlgren. Hi, guys.
Hey, Carolyn.
There you are.
Hey,
I'm here.
Carolyn.
It's so good to see you both. I have been following your travels and so jealous of the time that you've been able to spend in Italy. And I know, Matt, we're on a time crunch because you've got a dinner reservation.
Yeah.
What are you
Only
planning
time
on
so
ordering
yeah.
today?
Ooh, probably some cacio e pepe and carbonara. I'm not sure exactly, but I think that's on the list. Jason's going to order for me, so we'll see what he picks, but it better be one of those two things.
Well, your food pictures have been amazing. But we're here to chat about Chat BGPT. I can't even say it. And this is something that both of you have been using for a while. So, it's a natural tendency for us as humans to get a little nervous when something hits the marketplace that we're unsure of, and we're not quite sure if it's a tool to replace or enhance what we're already doing. So tell me, Matt, how have you used this tool to enhance what you're doing as an agent?
Yeah, well, my boyfriend's a programmer, Jason, and he introduced it to me a couple years ago, and I really didn't know what to do with it at first, but I was like, this is kind of interesting. I played with it a little bit, but more recently, I kind of found a really good way to use it, and it was to help me build itineraries. Now, I'm pretty good at putting an itinerary together and offering suggestions and recommendations and what to do and come up with the flow and all that stuff. The problem I've always struggled with was adding in that fluff, that sort of inspirational fluff. And so there's a way that you can prompt Chat GPT, or actually I use a different service called Toby, which is on top of Chat GPT, but it's for travel agents. And I tell it, okay, this is the tone I want. I want it to be an inspirational tone, but informative. I only want to write 200 characters. Can you please describe this port? Or can you please describe this city? And I've already got my itinerary laid out. And then I kind of go through. It's not exactly that simple as I'm making it out to be. You have to edit it, you might have to re-prompt it. Oh, that's not exactly what I want to know. Can you do this? Can you do that? And I kind of put it in my own kind of flavor. But that's the biggest thing I've used it for, is to add that sort of inspirational fluff, is what I call it, for clients, to get them excited and inspired.
I love that you ask it to please do something for you. That's very, very
Me
nice.
too. And I say thank you too. I say thank you. This is great.
Joe, do you find yourself using it for the same sort of thing? I thought I saw you writing down. Were you writing down Toby?
Because I need to look into that.
Yep.
But the same as Matt, I was just introduced to Chat GPT earlier this year, and I've used it to create emails for destinations. So if someone books a trip to Italy, what to expect, what to wear, what tipping, all different things that'll come out in my emails. And obviously it writes it for me, but I have to edit it. You still have to do all of that, because you can't make it sound like the computer. You can't make it sound like Google. You got to make it sound like it's coming out of me. That's what I mainly use for. I started using ChatGPT also for social media and helping with social media posts.
So do you find that you have to fact check it all? Like, you've got this beautifully written thing, and now you have to kind of go back and say, okay,
well,
is all this right?
It's good for when you have a mental block, and you're like, okay,
Mm.
so how do I write this without, and you need a little help. So yes, you always have to edit it. Always
Okay.
I
have to
think,
look at it.
and that's exactly spot on. It's really to enhance your writing. I don't. You have to fact check it if it's putting facts in there and stuff. But sometimes, like if you're drafting an email, like Joe said, it's just making your writing better. One of the best emails it crafted for me was a client that I was working on a big group with, and then she ghosted me. I'm like, how did I do that? Okay, so let me go to Toby and see what he says. So I told him the whole situation, like I would you, Carolyn, right? I told him the whole situation. She's got this group. This is what she wants. This is what we've been doing, and she ghosted me. Now, can you write a response that's comical tone? I want it to be a little funny. And he came up with this great response, and he talked about, he said, I edited it a lot, of course, but it was something along the lines of, I hope you're enjoying your time offline. I hope you didn't get sucked into the black hole of email. And then the way it ended was perfect. It said, there's a lot of other things there, but at the end it said, in the meantime, I'll be practicing my client summoning dance and stuff like that. And it was just hilarious. It made me laugh out loud. And it did get a response. So it did help a lot. It worked. She thought it was funny, and she came back, oh no, sorry, came up, my son school's starting and stuff like that, so I just need a little more time. I'm not ghosting you.
Well, that's
Yeah.
really, I have to say, that's
Hard on
really an interesting use. And, Matt, I've always admired you for your use of technology, right? We talk about this all the time that, I would sit there and rack my brain for 3 days trying to come up with an appropriate response, whereas you have found a tool that does it within 30 minutes, if not less.
Right.
So I think
Yeah,
that,
great.
I have to get more on board with that and give it a shot, right? Because there are times where maybe just, it's almost like talking it out with someone who has no, skin in the game.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great.
Mhm.
The other one I did want to mention that I used recently, and it was great. I did fact check it just to make sure, because I wasn't sure. Antarctica, I don't know if everyone else, but Antarctica is like this popular thing now, and I keep getting all these requests. I don't know anything about Antarctica. So someone asked me, hey, what's the packing list for this? I'm going in February. What's the recommended packing list?
Right.
So I asked it, and it came up with something. And I looked through it. Okay, some of this makes sense. Then I checked some. And no, it was pretty good. It all checked out. There might have been one thing that I took off, but it all checked out. It's great for coming up with custom packing lists for the destination.
Huh. Is there anything else, Joe, that you've used it for that's kind of outside the box?
Oh yeah, when I need to fire a client.
Really? Helps you find the right words?
It helps find the right words without me being totally obnoxious. So it does. It's like, in my words,
Uh-huh.
of a 58-year-old woman, how would you tell this person we are not a good fit?
Yeah.
And then boom, it comes up, and then I take what I can, rewrite it, and send the email out, and it's nicely told, have a nice day.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you guys read it. Asta used it to create an article, the 5 reasons to use a travel agent. And it was a pretty interesting article. And with a little light editing, it ended up doing a really good job of showcasing why you need that travel agent, right?
Right.
We can't be replaced, right? It's the personal connection, it's the knowledge. Even if we need a little bit of assistance, we're getting the assistance from somewhere, right? But it really just talked about that personal contact within the industry. And funny enough, as I was researching all of this, I happened to be at the grocery store, and we have self-checkout. Might not be in Italy, Matt, but we have the self-checkout, but the big ones, right? So you put all the groceries on just like you would, only you're doing all the scanning. Every time I go to this thing, I have a problem, and I start to think it's me. But I get the big thing. Help is coming. Help is coming. The thing won't move. I can't scan any more groceries. And I said to the kid the other day, I said, when this was put in, were you worried that your job was going to be eliminated? And he said, absolutely. He said, but we have more problems with this than anything else. And I said, well, I'm right there with you, because every time I use it, you have to come over to me 5-6 times. So,
Right.
you know, it's the same sort of thing, right? It serves its purpose, but it's never going to get rid of that physical person, because you can't replace the emotional piece.
Correct. Yeah. It's not going to replace us.
It's not going to replace
It's
us.
actually going to make us look better.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think you're right. I think sometimes if we have a tool like this, we might try to seek more answers and provide more information to our clients, because we're getting a little bit of a lift.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's how my itineraries are. They're much more detailed than they were before. They're much more inspirational. The writing's a lot better than it was before.
Have you gotten comments on that?
Yes. I tell the difference the first time I sent it out. People have always been impressed with my itineraries for the most part, but this last time I sent it out, or the first time I sent it out, there was a difference. They were like, whoa, they're really blown away. And of course I put pictures in and all that stuff too, but they were really blown away with all the details that were provided.
That's fantastic. So you guys, don't be afraid of the tool out there. Learn how to use it. Don't use it alone. Make sure you're editing and that you're using it along with other sources, including yourself. I think that's the takeaway here.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you go, because I know, Joe, you need to catch up on some jet lag here, and Matt's got dinner on the books. Give Jason our best, and thank you guys so much for always giving your time and energy to others.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Have a great day.
All right, you guys, thanks for joining us today. What a fun conversation. And it was so great to see all of you on. Andrea, hello. Terry, hello. It's so great to see you guys. Dawn and Vicky, anyone else that's on the stream with us today. But we thank you for joining us, and we thank our overall sponsor, Apple Leisure Group, for their continued support of KHM Today. You guys, next week is National Chocolate Day, and our guest is, of course, Universal Studios. So don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a really fun conversation, which of course will involve chocolate. So we'll see you back here next week, you guys. Happy selling.